Hey there, and welcome to another speed build video in The Sims 4. My name is Simon, and today I'm going to build a Greek beach house. I know it's very fitting for the season, at least around here. We have winter, and a ski lodge might be more appropriate for the season, but I see this more of a countermeasure because we do not have snow around here and the weather is pretty disgusting outside. It's just very rainy, and unless I have to, I do not like leaving the house at the moment because it's going outside right now. It's just really disgusting outside. And with this Greek summer house, or this Santorini inspired beach house, I was able to escape the rainy gray weather for a moment. And this is actually a first for the channel because I'm using custom content for the first time. You see it right here. This is a set that was created by Sixam CC, and I will give the link to their Patreon in the description below. And this set is inspired by Greek architecture, and in particular by the white and blue houses that you can see in Santorini. That's very special of that area. When you Google Greek houses, this is the first image that you see. It is these crisp white houses, and they have these blue accents, this cobalt blue, I believe it is, accents, and also they have these very famous domes on top, which you can see here. And I think Sixam CC did an amazing job recreating these, for what I can tell. But they look just so good, and they really turned this around. Like, if I didn't have these, I wouldn't have known how to recreate this with the game features, like with the roof tool or whatever. So I was really happy to have this item, and I think Sixam did such an amazing job on it. It might be my favorite item from the set, but in a close second is the pergola that you can see there. It has like these curtains attached to it, and the blue and the white just looks so great together. I really love the pergola. There are also two versions, like one freestanding one and one that you can attach to the wall. Yeah, and the set is like very balanced in architectural items and furniture. So you saw me put out some of the patio furniture there, and those are also part of the set. And all the archways that you see me put there, and the pergola, the windows, etc. Yeah, so you might have noticed, or maybe you didn't, but I'm gonna let you in on the secret. Like, I had no idea how I was going to build this, because the reference houses from the area of Santorini, they are like built in a hill, and this is a thing that is like very hard to recreate in The Sims, because usually you just have these freestanding houses, and you can build hills artificially, and with a tool you can even maybe blend them in with the environment. But in general, it's like it would look a little weird, and you're better off building a standalone house. I think it's a detached house, right? That's the correct term. A detached house. Because otherwise for gameplay it would just look weird, or it would really disrupt like the environment of the house. And for that reason, I had to create like a freestanding detached house. And I was just like figuring out the layout and the structure as I was building. So there were aspects that I took from the reference pictures that I got that I wanted to incorporate no matter what, like the arch roofs that you can see here. But in the Santorini area, from what I could see on the pictures, they were usually white and the same plaster that the wall itself would be. But I didn't like the color that the white flat roof in the game has. It has more of a yellowish tint, similar to the floor. I mean, later you will see that I try out different floor types, and they never look like fully white as the wall color would be. And I couldn't do anything about that, but with the roof at least, I decided to go for a completely different color, which would be the, the terracotta roof tiles. And I didn't see those in the Santorini reference pictures, but I saw them in many other pictures of like Greek houses and Mediterranean houses. So my god, I thought it was alright, and I like the contrast it created. And this is a game after all. This doesn't have to be like perfectly accurate, right? I mean, after all, I'm building in Sulani, which is based on what, the Polynesian environment. So this is like a completely different place on the planet, and so this is all just a fantasy and shouldn't really be taken too seriously. No. But while we're at it, this set was actually created with its own world. So you might have heard of the modder Arnie, and he created a tool that lets you edit like the actual worlds of the game. So you know that we can't really change anything in there, but he made it possible that you could actually change things out and create your own fully new worlds. No, I should actually rephrase that. It's not a new world. It is, you can take one of the existing worlds and change them completely over so they look like something new. So this, for example, the creator named Nando created this world that's called Santorini. So it's like Santorini inspired, but in the Sims world. And this was actually based on the vacation world that came with Outdoor Retreat. And I do not have Outdoor Retreat, so I could not install the world in my game. So that's a little bummer. Otherwise, I would have built it in the, this Greek-inspired world, that Greece-inspired world that would go along with this set a little bit better. But yeah, I don't have Outdoor Retreat, so yeah, I couldn't do that. So you see, like, with the mod that Arnie created, you can like not create something fully new that everybody could install, and like you'd have to pick one of the worlds, and that new world that you create from that world would actually replace the original one. So if I had installed the Santorini world, I would no longer be able to go to, I think it's called Granite Falls, right? And visit that one because it is built in that slot. Yeah. It is nonetheless incredibly impressive that modders are able to do that. If you haven't heard of this creator Arnie before, go check him out. He also created like an open world, or maybe multiple ones by now. I know of one that is like city based, and it's called, I believe, Brook Heights. Yeah. And yeah, it's like an open world in The Sims 4. It's what so many players are longing for, and developers can't give them that, but a modder was able to do that in a way. And yeah, if you haven't heard of that before, check that out. Pretty cool. Anyway, let's go back to the house. So one of the other things that I really wanted to incorporate in the layout, in the structure of the house, was a courtyard that you like. This is the first thing that you would go into when you enter the building, and also from that courtyard you would have multiple doors leading to the house. And at some point I was even considering making this like an apartment building, so you would have different units that would be accessible from these different doors that you see in the courtyard. But they would have become very small, and I rather wanted to create larger spaces. I also think this is more common for like hot climate environments, that rooms are a little bit more open, so the heat coming into the house actually spreads out and wouldn't build up in single rooms. So yeah, that made sense to me, and that's why I ditched the apartment idea. I built 2 bedrooms in the end, and large living areas, also an artist studio and a gaming room. And it's meant for 3 to 4 Sims, although right now only 3 Sims would have a bed, because the second bedroom is actually for a teenager, I thought. So it's a larger room with also a separate living area, but just a single bed. But you could easily make the studio and a third bedroom, but I didn't do that here. So I really wanted to have like a special room for like an activity, and I decided on the easel and the painting skill, and yeah, that's what I dedicated that one room to, rather than a generic bedroom. So this now is the largest living area, and it includes a dining room as well as a living area on the split level. And I wanted to keep everything in the same color scheme, so I decided on neutrals, like this very light wood, white, and bright blue, occasional like a darker blue. But I wanted to reflect the outside on the inside as well. Initially, I even wanted to go for a full white interior, but you know, with not a color wheel, and being fully dependent on the predetermined swatches of objects, this really wasn't an option. And then I just went for this bright color palette of like beige and light blues, white, and again the occasional pop of color. But overall, everything very summery and breezy, and yeah, I think it turned out pretty nicely. I think I've never like used like one color scheme for an entire house. At least I can't remember. I probably did at some point, but it didn't leave much of an impact apparently. So yeah, but this one I will certainly remember, because yeah, I think it turned out pretty well. Also, I mixed a couple of packs that I probably wouldn't have like thought of mixing here. So what I mostly used was Cottage Living and Jungle Adventures, and I felt like the Cottage Living furniture unexpectedly it really matched this Mediterranean theme, like taken out of context of the English cottage world of, what is it, Hanford and Bagley. They really look Mediterranean to me, or at least resemble it in some way. For the kitchen, I wanted to have like this central table in the middle that would theoretically, or like in reality, be used to prepare food on. Of course, Sims won't use it for that because they can only do that on counters. But I really like to have that as a visual here, as a focal point. Like, I think in a lot of in Mediterranean cuisine, whether it's Greek or Spanish or Italian or whatnot, it is, I always think of like being this large amounts of food being prepared in the smallest kitchens, and a lot of people helping, and with such a big table in the center of the room, like this is where most of the food would be prepared. And yeah, I really wanted to have that in this house. This is the living room now, and this bookcase right there, this is also part of the set that Sixam CC built or created, and this is also one of my favorite pieces in this collection. Right now you see that each piece has like a different color to it, but that is not to Sixam CC's fault. That is really like how the game works. The lighting in the game works. It's like it's a little crappy, to be honest. Like the light catches it, a single object catches the light, and the next one catches it in a different light. But when they are put together, you really see a glaring difference, and that's a little unfortunate. But I still think when you put indoor lighting in, it works a lot better than with the natural lighting. So you see in a bit that when I put the chandelier on, or like the candle kind of with a ceiling lamp, it looks a little bit less glaring there. But back to this bookcase, it has like a lot of individual slots for items to be placed. So I barely had to use T.O.O.L to place the items in the way that I wanted to. Like the way you see me here, find adjust like these items on the surface. I didn't have to do that with this shelf because these are individual slots. So I didn't have to use T.O.O.L or red shelf or anything. I just could place it there and it looked great without doing anything further. So I really appreciated that. Like usually the shelves and tables and everything that is in the game has the weirdest slots, and you know, when you place an item, it might, you know, look nice if it's like straight in the middle, but you know, a little bit to the side, it just looks it looks weird and displaced. So I really appreciated that with this bookcase, the individual slots, the perfect slots, were like built in. You didn't have to find it just anything. Moving on to the artist studio now. So there's really nothing wild here. Like, these are mostly base game items, I believe. But I did include a little like unwinding corner. So I put the bubble blower in there from City Living because it was such a large space and I fully didn't know what to do with it. So as you can see, like, if you don't want an artist to live here, you could easily make this a third bedroom or anything else, another skill room, whatever. Yeah, so really nothing too special about this room, I think. So this could easily be turned into something different. And yeah, this now is the second bedroom. This is where I picture a teenager living. So it's a larger space. It's almost like a tiny studio apartment because it has its own bathroom, and like you could potentially put like a small kitchen in there if you wanted to, but I didn't do that. So it is not an like individual apartment, but it is a bedroom with a living area, a little bit larger, also like a study area. So you will see. You might notice that I'm using items from the Vampire game pack here, and this wouldn't have been my first choice when I would have decided on the packs that I would use for a Greek or Mediterranean build, but the rocks that you see outside that I used for the shore around the house, these actually came with vampires, so I had to use that pack anyway because those were the ones that looked the best for that type of shoreline. So yeah, the other packs I used include City Living, which I needed for the fence type with the ornaments on it. It's also white and blue. It matched pretty well with the colors of the exterior, and also cats and dogs, I believe. So, I mean, it has a lot of like these wicker furniture that also worked very well in this context. And Island Living. I think this is the most obvious because it's beach themed, and yeah. You can actually see here that this bedroom is accessible from the courtyard, and I don't know how logical that is, but I really wanted to have these many doors in the courtyard, and well, that's the only way to do it. So individual rooms are accessible from the courtyard, but then again, you could make this an individual apartment if you'd like to. And yeah, then the front door, second front door would make a lot more sense. I will move on to the upstairs in a moment, and you might see in the first shot that there are like some weird shadows on the floor, and you can remove these with, you know, platforms, but it took me a while to figure that out. So the entire floor plan upstairs I did off screen. I did without recording it because it just drove me nuts. Like, I wanted these shadows gone, and it was so difficult, and you still see some there, but it's the best that I could do. Like, you know, kind of work around with lighting and using platforms. It seems to come from the rooms that are on the level below, and the walls and also the platforms kind of create these shadows on the top floor. I don't fully understand how this works or why they are there, but they need to be gone. This needs to be in the laundry list. They need to fix that. This is like unacceptable. It's hideous, and you know, I can only work around it. It's not gone. I guess it's less glaring with darker floors or with wood floors with texture on it, but on these white floors, this is unacceptable. I really, really hate this. I'm so happy that it was mostly in that area only and like not in the bedroom, or at least I didn't notice it as much. Wow, but here you don't see anything, so I don't really understand why it is, where it comes from, but in some rooms it is very glaring and hideous, but here it's fine. But I have to say, I'm not like 100% happy with this study that I built. It's okay, but I didn't put my all into it. I guess with like bigger houses and so many rooms to decorate, at some point you just lose a little bit of inspiration and you just go, yeah, this looks fine, and be done with it. This room is it for me, so it's okay. Not really proud of it, but the bedroom and the bathroom that are coming up next, these turn out pretty nicely. I really like these. These are pretty cute, simple but very cute. So anyway, these are the lost rooms, and I hope you enjoyed this build. I hope you liked to see me use CC for a change. Some custom content is as good or even better as in-game items, and I think this one by Sixam CC would be included on that list. I will upload the build to the gallery. In order for you to find it, make sure you check that custom content box in the filter section on the gallery. And of course, you will have to have the set by Sixam CC installed in your game beforehand for everything to look the way you see it here. So go to the download link in the description below to get it there. And if you like this video, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe for more building videos of this kind. Also check out my Instagram, Taffissimo_builds for additional content, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.